Good morning, friends. Welcome to this week's live stream. I'm Steve Yulberg, and we're going to talk today about learning tunes by eye. Now, let me go make sure we have everything lined up over here where it's supposed to be. This is the beginning of a 3-week series about tune acquisition. And I just had this happen again in my classes yesterday. I had a student who was apologizing because they were no good, in their opinion, at learning new tunes because they couldn't read the music. They tended to learn by ear instead. And fortunately, this is what often happens in a class. Someone else says, "That's me too." And then someone else says, "Well, I can read the music just fine, but I can't do it by ear." And they're both being apologetic because they feel like they're somehow inferior or broken or not enough. And I'm constantly reminding people that you are the musician you are. You have the skills you have. You can always add more arrows to your quiver or more tools to your box. But because you're not good in the thing you're not good in, doesn't mean you need to discount the thing you can do. Like many people, I wanted to play piano. I begged to take piano lessons, and my parents and the piano teachers at the time made me wait until I was 6. So I was in first grade, and that was part of the conventional wisdom at the time. If you want to learn music, you have to wait until children can read language. You can't play with them. You don't show them anything about music. You wait until they can read so that they can read the music on the page. And then you constantly talk to them about not looking at their hands. Because I was playing piano like this, and I was watching my hands like anybody else does. I did not have a music teacher, a piano teacher, who would hit me with rulers. I've had a lot of students who had that horrible experience. Fortunately, I haven't recently had any, but abusive music teachers, I do not have. There's a special place reserved for them, is all I can say. There are teachers who would hold the book or a clipboard or something over the hands to try to get people to watch the music. And I get the importance of making the connection between what's on the printed page and what you're hearing, but I don't think it needs to be that drastic. And I don't think you need to wait until people can read before you do anything musically with them. Well, I'm a preschool music teacher. I work with children who are pre-literate all the time. They can't even speak, but they can sing. So you know that I come at this differently. Now, I want to tell you about one of my preschool kids as an example of this. He had aphasia. There was a disconnect between the parts of his brain that did speech and his mouth. He would come in, though, every time, eager, with eyes, huge saucer eyes, come running over and give me a high five or a hug or a big smile. He might just stop and smile at me. He would do all of his communication with his eyes and his expressions because he didn't speak. And he was the one who paid riveted attention to everything that I did and everything we did. And sometimes he'd sit next to me and copy me. Other times he would be looking to mom and then looking to me and seeing what she's doing. But he was using his eyes it was ears too, but he was using his eyes for everything. And we didn't tell him to stop doing that. I just noticed it, and we went through our regular class. About the 4th term, these are 10-week classes that I would do. About the 4th term, he would show up, and it was in a new location. And as we started doing our ritual song at the beginning with animal sounds and meow meows and woof woofs, he was making the animal sounds with us. I looked at his mom. She looked at me. It's like he hadn't done this at home, apparently, or not where she could hear him. He had observed, and then did it. So he was receiving, and then sharing it. So when I'm learning tunes by eye, I'm thinking about him in the background. As someone from the outside, it looked like he may not have been making progress, But on the inside, all the little building blocks are being put together so that he could find a way that he could express himself. And there were bigger challenges for him than some other children, but he used his tools to do it. And it got even better. They brought Daddy 2 weeks later, and he was singing words with us. He didn't speak words. He was singing words with us. And his mom and dad and I were all just, tears rolling down our faces of joy and amazement. So eyes are very important in the learning process. Let's see if I can open the chat over here, which I've been... Hey, that appears to be working here today. I don't know what changed. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk primarily, well, he was watching what I was doing, and there is a way that when you want to play an instrument, you can watch what other people are doing. You sometimes have to do translation, and what they're doing looks different to them than to you because you're seeing them from in front of them. They're seeing themselves and their instrument from the way it is. So one of the things that I did in learning this was using my eye to learn by ear, is I would sit right here next to the person that I wanted to learn the songs from, and I would watch. And his name is Don Petty, and I would watch what he was doing with his hands. And when he went up, I went up. When he went down, I went down. I'd notice where he started. So I used my eye there's these markers on the fretboard. On a mountain dulcimer, the frets are unusually spaced from a guitar. I would notice where he was on his fretboard, and I would not go any higher than he went. I would not go any lower. And this was all by eye. It's not by ear. I'm paying attention to what is happening. Was he playing on one string? Was he playing on more than one string? Was he playing in a chord shape? Was he using more than one finger? Was he using one finger? I would observe and use my eyes to figure out all those things. One of the good tools for learning to play guitar is playing in front of a mirror. Because I don't know how many of us, when we're trying to play guitar, are doing this with our head, trying to watch our fingers as if the fingers are going to fall off our hand. But the reality is we have to get used to the fact that I can't see my fingers the way someone over here can see them. But there's a tool for that. It's called a mirror. And a lot of us have one of those either in our bedroom, over a dresser, or in the bathroom. And if you really want to see what's going on without giving yourself a neck ache, or without turning your guitar like this, which makes it almost impossible for your hands to reach what's going on, if you face the mirror, you have an opportunity to see what it looks like from the other side and recognize, oh, this chord looks like a little crunched up triangle. This chord is stretched across the strings. This chord is stretched in kind of a slant way. This chord, there's a little group of triangle thing that can move over there, that can move over there. Well, this chord, I've got that triangle thing, but I've got a bar. And where were they? Can I count up the frets? Those are all tools and things to observe for playing by eye. Now, the other piece, now that people do know how to recognize what's going on in musical notation, I'm going to share my screen and Caledonian Club. This is my tablature for this tune. I got it from Ryan's Mammoth Collection, which is a huge collection of Celtic music. But this one's really good for teaching the particular tune type, Caledonian Club. And so what I've done is add some vocables here as lyrics to help us with the rhythm. But even though you may say, oh, it's got dots, it's got little flags, it's got all kinds of things that make it hard for me, I'm using this one on purpose. because I would like us to take a look at what's going on when we look at a piece of music to see what can we learn by eye. Now, the first thing is there are some things over here. It says it's in the Ionian mode of D. That tells me on a hammer dulcimer, this is a hammer dulcimer arrangement that I'm going to play in a box, most likely. And my first chord is a D, my last chord is a D. It's probably in the key of D. So that other clues that I'm learning by eye. And the chords, when I scan them, D, G, D, E minor, A, D. In the B part, same thing. Nothing too unusual. There are no surprise chords. So, all right, I kind of know that this is in my wheelhouse. Now, if I look at the notes, the C tells me it's in common meter, so there's going to be 4. That's the same as 4, 4. Let me just do this equals common meter equals 4, 4. Oops, not 4, 5. We don't want that. And as I count through, oh, penny, nickel, penny, nickel, penny, nickel, penny, nickel, penny, nickel, penny, nickel, nickel, lying on a penny, stop. The lyrics are here as an extra clue, and I'm leaving them. I'm using this for that reason, because I might not understand all this music stuff. But this pattern, penny, nickel, first measure, penny, nickel, same second measure, exactly the same. Penny, nickel, third measure, rhythmically the same. Nickel lying on a penny, stop. Okay, that was different. So I know that whatever the rhythm is in the first measure is the same as the second measure, same as the third measure, new thing for the first ending. Well, let's compare the endings. On this one, nickel lying on a penny, stop. Here we go, nickel lying on a penny, stop. Oh, they're exactly the same rhythmically. Now, when I look at the music, reading the notes, even if I don't know what these notes names are, I can see that that and that are the same, this and this are the same. Da 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 da. So in this measure, this thing is the same, and it's almost the same. It's the same pattern starting in a new place, and then it goes back and starts in the same place. But even more importantly, this first measure here, exactly the same as this measure here with one change, the last note. Now, one of the things this means is that we need to get used to, and sharing for a moment, we need to get used to highlighting the difference when we're learning by eye. And it's true that this happens a lot. I have so many people who will tell me, I'll say, so how did it go this week when they're coming back for a return lesson? And they'll say, it was awful because I couldn't play this tune at all. And I say, well, can you show me what you're talking about? And they play through and they have the whole tune except for one note. And they have decided because they couldn't play one note that they're awful, that's nothing worked. It's like, I think you're being a little harsh because you actually played a lot of it well. You have one little sticky point. So let's work on the sticky point. But let's also not define your experience of the whole thing by the fact that you had one sticking point. How many notes are in this line? Let's share the screen again. Don Pardo, let's share the screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I'm not counting the pickup for a moment. I could. 35. So there's 35 notes. If you only missed one, come on. 1 out of 35? Let's just do a little math. If you were being graded, so you missed 0.03. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. You just have to fix that one thing. Now, sometimes we miss more than one. We might miss half the notes. But if we talk about it always from a deficit about what we didn't do, and we can't celebrate what we do understand, what we can do, I think it's like trying to breathe underwater. We're giving ourselves a harder path than we need to. And our eyes can help us see that, oh, these two measures are exactly the same except for the finish. And the finish lets me know what I'm doing next. After I play this note, I'm going here, which is a lot like that one. And then there's something new here. Rhythm is the same, something new in the notes. Okay, this one, after I play that high note, now I'm going to do this da 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 da. I'm going to do this thing. And you know what? I do this thing both times. So in this 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth measure, piece of music, two of the measures are the same. Actually, these two measures are also the same. So we have one measure that's different. You see what I'm doing here? I'm taking the things that we're using our eye to look for patterns. And the reality is humans are built for seeing patterns even when no patterns exist. We'll create patterns if there isn't one presented to us. And what I'm wanting us to bring that to bear with music is if we can see patterns on the paper or in what people are doing as we're watching them physically play the music, if we can see the patterns, it makes it more memorable. It makes it, in that way, more achievable. So let's go back to the page. Now, in the A part, we have this measure and this measure the same. I'm going to sing it with you. Ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, bum-ba-dum, bum, bum-ba-dum, bum, bum-ba-dum, bum, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-dum, bum, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Now I finish here and I've got a new thing. Ba, haven't played this note yet as a thing that's going on somewhere. I used it right here, but we're up here. Now we're in a different place. Ba-dum, 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 ba, ba-dum, 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 bum, ba-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba. Oh, what did you notice? These two measures exactly the same. This one almost the same. It finished a little bit different here. It's like ba-dum, 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 ba, ba-dum, 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 bum, ba. That feels like a question. So it's like we statement, then we question it, then we restate it. Ba-dum, 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 ba. And then, just like here, we had this nickel lying on a penny stop rhythmically. Here's what's happening. Nickel lying on a penny stop. Same rhythm as in the first ending. But instead of going up, we're coming down. Nickel lying on a penny stop. But if you look at the penny stop, oh, look, this is the same as here. Penny stop. Penny stop, penny stop. So we're approaching the conclusion. We're going to land in the same place each time in the first ending, second ending of the A, first and second ending of the B. We're landing in the same place. We just have two different ways to get there. One is from below, and the other one is from above. So can you see the patterns? We're looking for patterns. And what this does, for me, it makes the tune more accessible. I like that. Now, you might be telling me, as you look at this particular piece of music, I really can't read that stuff. I read tablature. So let me share with you a mountain dulcimer way of looking at the same tune. So let me share the screen again. And have a little tea. Let's get a little tea. So here's Caledonian Club again, but now for mountain dulcimer tablature. We're in the lower octave. We're in DAD tuning. We have what looks like the key signature of D. There's no chords here to tell me what's going on. I don't start on a D, but I end on a D. So these are the first things I do when I look at a piece of music. I'm looking for Any clues up here about what we're doing, the tuning I'm in, what's the key signature that lets me know the kind of notes I'm going to have? I'll look at the first note. I'll look, see if there's any chords. I'll look at the last note to see. This is a flat picked one, so there are no chords. There are some drone things in here, but there are no chords. And I'll look at the last one to say, okay, this one's probably in D. I'm playing across the strings, you can see, because in mountain dulcimer tablature, this is the bass string, the one that's furthest away from you. It looks like it's on top. The middle string is the A string that's in the middle, and the melody strings, one with the small case D at the top, those are the ones closest to your body. So this is obviously being played a lot on the bass and the middle string. The whole A part is played on the bass and the middle string in this particular arrangement. Then we get to the melody string for the B section. There's a whole lot of melody string with a little bit on the middle string. Again, I'm using my eyes to see everything I can see about this. Now, you may look at this if you're a mountain dulcimer player and say, there's a lot of information on here. This has too much black on the page. I might not want to play it. That's, of course, your prerogative. For me, it's like, I wonder what's going on here. There are these strange little things, the H's with a slur. There's an S. There's a P. Those are articulations that are typical for stringed instruments. So an H is a hammer-on. That's suggesting there is in addition to being flat picked, I could use some articulations to get some of the notes. An S is a slide. A P is a pull-off. Hammer-ons always go from a lower note to a higher note. Slides can go either from lower to higher or higher to lower. Pull-offs always come from a higher note to a lower note. You can see here we're pulling off from a 5 to a 3. Here we're pulling off from a 2 to a 0, a 4 to a 0, a 5 to a 0. It sounds very bagpipey, actually. And then there's this thing here that says double picking. Now, do you see what I'm doing? Right now I'm looking at all the leaves on the tree. And when I really want to learn a new tune, it might be better to step away and look at the forest for a minute. When I step away and look at the forest, first thing I figure out, there's an A part that's repeated. There's a B part that's repeated. If I look at the repeats, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 3, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 3, 3. Oh, the tablature numbers, even if I don't understand anything up here, the tablature numbers are exactly the same. The only thing different is the last thing. The last thing here sends me back to the repeat. The last thing here sends me on to the new section. And when I start looking at the new section, about 2, 4, 2, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 4, 2, 0, 4, 0, 5. Oh, wow, that's almost the same. I go to the middle string to finish this, but then I'm back to 2, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 4. That's just like this one. So if I learn this measure, I don't have to learn two things. I just have to repeat it again when I get here. This one's almost the same with something different in the middle. And that's going to take me into a new thing in just a minute. Now I'll look at the first ending, X, don't play that string, but I'm playing in the middle string, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 0, 0, X, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 0, 0. Oh, this one is lacking the pickup note that gets us back here. This one is leaving space for the pickup note here to start us over again. So what I'm doing is I'm looking and using my eyes to help get a sense of what's going on in this tune before I ever try to play it. Okay. This also gets me to the place that I really want to highlight today. In a tune that has an A part and a B part, my experience is, at least from my playing and my aptitudes, there is one part of the tune that has got its hand out saying, get on board, just come on in, we're ready for you. And another part of the tune that goes and kind of giggles in a kind of evil way because it's going to be harder. So when I look at a tune like this, let's go back to sharing the screen. The part that for me has its hand out is the B part, because I'm pulling to 0. There's a lot of melody string. Ba-dum, 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 ba. Ba-dum, 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 bum, ba-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba. Bum, ba, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, ba. Now, this double picking thing, I'm going to have to learn. It's a skill that I may not have yet, so I'm going to have to learn that. But in terms of just my way into the tune, these two measures are exactly the same. Third measure almost the same, with one new thing. I have to do another technique of a quick pick, going from the melody to the middle. Ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and these are exactly the same. I'm going to learn this part first. Now, in my class yesterday, there were some students who said the A part is what is their way in. That's right. I'm not going to argue with them. If they see something that makes them feel, I want to try this here because I think I'll have more success, I'll have more fun as I get into the tune with the part that makes more sense to me, that's perfect, because we don't all acquire tunes the same way. We, like I said, with the ear also, we have our aptitude, we have our experience as well. I might be stronger at doing this. Now, when I'm playing this tune by myself, it might be that all I ever have is the B part until that one's really solid, and I'll go work on the A part later. And if I get together with other people who know the tune, and they'll say, "Do you know Caledonian Club?" I'm going to say, "I'm working on that one." And I feel like I got part of it, maybe half of the tune. They'll say, "Okay, let's play." And I said, "Can you start it? Because I'm better at the B part." And I'll let them start it. And then every time the B part comes around, I'm jumping in. I'm playing it on the B. And I just realized something, friends. I started this live stream an hour too early. Oh, man. Well, there you have it. Sometimes people will join me for the live stream and have some conversations. And I guess I'm just an eager beaver today. So that is playing by eye. Next week at the right time, the regular time, 8 a.m., we're going to do this, and we're going to focus on playing by ear. You don't have to use a song that looks very difficult to you. You can go through and review and see how is your eye doing. Hey, Talon, you noticed. Yeah. So part of what's happening today is I've got a gig this afternoon. I think I'll put it in. And so I've been working on some new songs for that. And let me put that link, Mother and Id Week Mini Mike. It's at 4 o'clock Pacific time. For a half an hour. A shorter one. But I also have a bunch of deadlines that I'm working with right now. And so trying to weave everything together in the time frame I have has crossed a few wires in my head, in my brain. I talked with a friend yesterday. He says, "Yeah, I've got COVID head." And just, it's her description for the way her brain is working. So, yeah, I'm glad you're here too. Thanks for just peeking and jumping on. And of course, this lives as a replay on the Facebook page. It's also on YouTube, and it's reserved on live stream. It's playing. You can find. Let's go do this. Let's share the screen again. This might be a little weird. Let's see what happens. So we're looking at the Dulcimer Crossing page. That takes us to the live stream here on Vimeo when you click on that. So there we have that. And then we have the Facebook page where you can find it. So if you're ever looking in the future That's what's going on. Now, Talon or Bob or anybody who's here, do you have anything about playing with eyes, questions or witnesses that you want to throw into the conversation? Your experience about playing by eye. I didn't pull my hammer dulcimer over here, but it's the same thing in terms of watching where someone's playing. Where do they seem to be playing on the instrument? Are they playing straight up and down? Are they playing in a box? Are they playing horizontally across all three bridges? These principles move to whatever, if you're using your eyes to observe how a player is playing, they move to whatever instrument that is being played. And like I mentioned with the mirror, when my hands get used to playing a shape for a chord and I look in what somebody else is doing, there is tremendous excitement at recognition. It's like, oh, you're playing the same thing I'm playing. My hands can do what you're doing. That's fun. And what also happens there with jam play, Talon, you're an artist, and so you are very visually focused. That makes sense. And like I mentioned early on, I learned I was raised in the period of time in the school of piano teaching that said learn everything by eye, don't play by ear. That's changed, partly because of a recognition that there are some amazing players who never learned to read. There's some amazing players that never learned to play by ear. However, I have noticed, I've focused on learning by ear for a long time, but I've noticed that if I don't have the audio reinforcement for what my hands know to do or what I see that I'm doing, it undermines my confidence. So in the end, all these pieces go together, and we'll talk about that some more as we go through the other ways of acquiring tunes. So if you'd like an assignment, my assignment to you is to pick 3 tunes that you don't know, that you can find printed music for, or find a video of someone playing something that you can see what they're doing on the instrument that you and they play, and watch what they're doing and see if you can try that on your instrument. See if you can go to those same places. If you're looking at the sheet music, make a copy. If you don't want to mark up a book, make a copy and use a pen or a pencil or highlighters and go through and find all the common parts. And then notice how much of the song is like, there's a lot in here that just gets repeated over and over again. These are phrases that are common. Or it's a similar phrase, but now we start on a different string. So it's a sequence. Oh, so even though it's different notes, it's the same pattern. Rhythmically, the notes are happening in the same order or interval from each other. Let me demonstrate. Let me share the screen for that purpose again, because we didn't actually talk about that. So these notes right here, you're looking at tablature numbers. This can help if you're not a music reader. I'm playing fret 2 4 4 2 3 5 5 3 2 4 4. So the 2 4 4 is an interval of a third. The 3 5 5 is an interval of a third. If I'm on my fretboard, let me go back to the screen. So 2 4 4 2 3 5 5. There's a fret in between I'm skipping. I'm doing the sequence because I'm doing the one thing, starting it, moving it higher. Now I go to the B part. Not a sequence. I'm just doing things over and over again. But the sequence is in. It lets me just do what I did before, but a step higher. So those are the things that I'm looking for. And that's what I would highlight. I might say, exact thing, sequence. I might write sequence on the paper so I can take notes. And what I discovered today, I'll leave a captain's log of the exploration of this tune. Well, that is playing by eye. Next week, I will endeavor to be here at the publicized time. When I started this live stream, it said live in 58 minutes. I was like, well, that ain't right, because it's 8 o'clock right now. But apparently it was in Colorado. Maybe I was just channeling an old time zone, a former time zone. So thank you for being here. Here's a note. I actually started this live stream accidentally an hour earlier than I intended. But you can enjoy the archive. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Talon.